Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are live. And I'm coming to you from Smart City, Glasgow. And we're going out live all the way to our listeners in Australia, back up and around to Alaska, back to Europe and all the countries there, Poland, Belgium, Norway, back over to Nebraska and Alaska. And I'm going to have to stop listing these states because I've got people emailing me now. They email me to say, can you add in that to the little intro? I've had it twice now. So I'm really going to have to be very careful with that. But the only reason that I can come to you live today, right now, at this very special moment in time, is thanks to Truth Frequency Radio Network, where we try our utmost to protect you from all of that deception out there. Protection from deception, as we call it. And where we like to say, silence is consent. And this is one of the few places online where you can truly listen to free speech radio. And I want to thank Chris and Cherie Geo for continuously providing us this platform to go out live here on tfrlive.com, but also to the thousands of listeners over there at Talk Stream Live as well. And maybe you're listening in the archive. You're all more than welcome here today. And today is going to be a very special occasion. It's been a long time since somebody has come onto the Kev Baker show and made such an instant impact on me and, more importantly, you, the audience. But today's guest definitely ticks that box. Her name is Mary Dusina. I like to call her our resident astrologist here on KBS. She comes onto the show once a month. And for anyone who hasn't heard of Mary before, she's here to talk to us about signs and energies today. And we're going to be doing it on the day of the wolf moon. Yes, it's the first full moon of 2021, so I'll be asking Mary all about what the year ahead holds, what's so significant about this special full moon that we're having today, and more importantly, as the show progresses after the first break, you, yes, you out there, you can speak to Mary DeCena right here on KBS today. Now, Mary is a star shaman, a psychic, a tarot reader, an astrologer, a mystic, and so much more. She was born on Halloween, there you go, and did the first psychic call-in show back in the 1980s in Tampa, Florida. So you can go to her website where you can get a full reading, you can get something called an enlightenment session, and so much more at Mary Dusina, and that's Mary DUSINA.com. So without any further ado, let's bring her back onto the show, and I promise I'm going to try not to call you Scary Mary today. How you doing, Mary?
Thank you. Oh, it's okay. You can call me Scary Mary.
See, I like
sometimes
that. I like that. The sound of you smiling, laughing at the start of the show. That's where we want to be for the next 2 hours, right?
Oh, and good Lord, don't we all need it with the thank you, Kev, and thank you to Chris and Shrigio, and I love the protection from deception. That's such an important mantra. It's such an important pasture for our peace with Truth Frequency Radio, to have a pasture that you can come to. This is so important that people find that talk show, those hosts, that platform where just disconnect from everything that is trying to divide you and everything that is trying to vampire into your vital life force energies. Find those hosts, find those shows that uplift your energy, that bring your frequencies up, which is at the full moon. Our glorious grandmother moon is wanting to illuminate the entire Mother Earth. It's Mother Earth, grandmother moon to most First Nation studies. And so the moon, the yin, the feminine, the gentle presence is saying, I'm going to light the darkness. Now, as I light the darkness, you're going to have to look at the darkness. You're going to have to look at the darkness within you. It's a kind of scrying mirror time. So if you've gotten yourself off balance, out of kilter, in your snarky self, and if you're being a right fighter, which is easy on a Leo moon, that you think you're right, and instead of getting the issue right, you're pushing back with resistance. And so therefore, I often say to my clients, friends or whomever, do you want to get this right, or do you need to be right? Which is the shadow and the light of the golden Leo moonrise, our first full moon of 2021, although many cultures refer to it as the wolf moon, because in the northern hemisphere it can be like the really cold part of winter, and the southern hemisphere the sun is rising highest. So it has a lot to do with where you live, and we want to respect all our latitude and longitude vortex points. But in the northern hemisphere, it's often referred to by tribal nations as the wolf moon, because the wolves are howling and they're hungry when the snow and the ice are on the ground and the pickings are lean, as we say here in the mountains. So when things get lean, the creatures can become more vicious. The predators come out because they don't eat for enjoyment, they eat to survive. So this Leo moon, when you look at the Leo lion or the wolf as a prodigious creature, there are things right now, even mystically, as an empowerment astrologer, if we want to evolve and not be trapped just by, oh, well, my sign is this, so that's my excuse for that, or, well, that's over in that zone of my chart or that area of my chart, so that's why that's hard for me to deal with this lifetime. It's my karma. No. Once it's pointed out by an effective astrologer, by a star shaman, by you looking and studying your own chart, you don't then get to use that as an excuse. With knowledge comes power, and most importantly, the responsibility to become that best, better version of yourself. So that's a big part of this full moon of 2021. Now that we've had that conjunction of Jupiter Zeus moving into Aquarius for the good part of 2021, and Saturn shifting from its 3 years in Capricorn and moving into Aquarius for the next 2 3/4 to 3 years, starting at that great conjunction, December 21st of 2020, now the rebel, now the part of us, the ancient part of us that knows we are visiting Earth, we are walking and working in this dimension, in these realms, but for a while we slipped on skin as spirit, and now we're back in touch with our spirit. So this full moon, being full in the fixed fire sign of Leo, and now we have these planets lining up that come to a roar of Aquarius, an Aquarius parade starting very strongly. Well, actually, the initiation of it began January 20th, but it gets really strong from February 6th on into the new moon of the 11th, and then beginning to come up with the strongest point of the rebel. The archetype of Aquarius is the rebel, the revolutionary, the scientist, the inventor, the eccentric, the genius, the alchemist, and the one that will go into exile and say, now you don't get me. I'm going to get off the grid. Now you don't get me. So it moves us in more to our invisible force fields. It reminds us that even though we can touch it, smell it, taste it, hug it, we can touch it with our physical earth temple, we are multidimensional, biochemical, multifaceted rainbows of spirit. And this year, and starting with this moon, it started to be triggered last year with that conjunction, but we now come into, a lot of people don't like that because most human mammals don't like change. They push back on change. But the theme this year is enough is enough, something's got to give, and what say you, and where do you stand, and will you be able to accomplish, the central theme of 2021 will be looking at the societal pressure of, well, I want to be accepted, and I want to be conform enough that I'm liked. It's like when you're in high school, I want to be a cool kid, or I want to be a cheerleader, or I want to be the football player, or I want to be good in field hockey or soccer or stuff like that. So we start to find an avenue to where we can start to get the Leo starshine. It's like, am I approved? Did I do good enough? Whether it's our teachers, our parents, or our peers. So Leo is saying, I'm a performer. I can do that. I can be the class clown. I can be the brave soldier. I can win the gold star. I can do whatever I need to do. Will you like me then? And the Aquarius is, you have to be authentic to you. You have to fall in love with yourself, not like a narcissist. You have to take the mask off, pun intended, and you have to be able to be yourself. But the first person that's got to accept the glory of you and the light of you is you to you.
You know,
So
Mary,
that's what this...
sorry to interrupt you there, because I love listening to you, and I shared with some of the inner circle of the KBS experience today. You know, I usually do live streams and things like that before the show. I love going onto YouTube. I love spending time with them as much as I do talking about the crazier aspects of the world. And
Yes.
I was telling them, you know, I've been struggling this week, whatever it is. I get good weeks, I get bad weeks. It's not to sit here and looking for sympathy, as you know. I don't roll like that. But
Nope.
since you came onto the show, I tell you, folks, you can only take my word for this, but Mary does bring an energy with her. And already I feel absolutely reinvigorated. I tell you, about half an hour before the show, folks, it was 50-50. I was thinking, do I do this? Do I not do this? And I just want to take that time out to thank you, Mary, because some of the audience probably knew that I was struggling today, but not anymore now. Wow. But I'd picked up on two things you said there, all right? And you mentioned discernment. Me, in the last 2 or 3 years, I felt myself, I felt my discernment has improved. Now, that doesn't
Good.
mean that I always get everything right, but at the same time, Mary, I look online, and it's not to say that I'm better than anyone else, but my observation of people en masse, or at least on social media, is that discernment is, the levels are rapidly accelerating downwards. And you mentioned narcissism as well. And I think in this world of social media and the internet, and I've got a cheek because I've got a show with my own name on it, that takes a certain level of narcissism, you know? But it's like we're almost, people are being turned into narcissists through some of the outside kind of stimulus or stimuli provided by technology. What do you say to that?
First off, thank you. One thing that my engineering father used to say to me is, he said, "You're like a Roman candle." I said, "What?" Because I'm a kid then. He goes, "You're like a Roman candle. It's like when you focus your energy." Remember, he studied energy. He said, "You like light up. You like light up." And I never forgot that, you know, your childhood things that are anchors that you like. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send light to people that fall into that meant to be category of who gets in touch with me, how we connect. We don't always have to agree, but if they connect into my web of life, then that's a part of glory and grace, and my job, if I'm going to ever be into any kind of a medicine way, is to then send those radiations, those beams of light, because, you know, Kev, mystically, light knows where it needs to go. You don't have to have an astrologer or a shaman or a rabbi or a preacher or anybody specifically define that for you. It's exciting when they do. I was just thinking that. Oh, my God, that is so true. My chart. Oh, that's my perfect card. Okay, but light, if you just go to the core, and right now with Leo, it's the heart chakra, and I remind my clients all the time, the chakras are not just in front of your body. The chakras have a back door. So if we think about the front of our body and the heart, it's got its own cage. It's got a rib cage. And the body, the earth body, is designed that like a bird in a cage. The heart has some bones around it. It has some movable, kind of pliable bones, but it's in a cage because it's the drum of our body. So our heart chakra is the drumbeat of discernment, trying to grant us that frequency or that feeling of like, you're not feeling it. Don't go against yourself. Don't go against yourself. So if we can all make one decision on this day in 2021, that literally as my heart beats, I invite the light of the all that is. Literally as my heart is enriched, I allow the frequencies of the, not always seen by the EYE, but always known by the I am. I allow that to be the captain of my ship. I allow that to steer my soul. And I allow myself whatever job, I could pick up garbage. I'm telling you, I could pick up garbage or dig a hole, and I can still make that conscious decision to be a light bearer, to be an intuitive wand, a magic wand, an antenna to not only receive the radiations and frequencies and illuminations of light from the higher worlds, the above worlds, the spirit worlds, but also because I'm anchored on Earth for a specified time, that through my knowledge, through my skills, through my skill sets, my medicine ways, or whatever, as you said, I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else ever, because I don't care, I don't need that, but we're all here to perform as agents of light or to succumb to the dark. And so, like you said about the social media, to answer that, when it all started roaring out, there was this thing called a selfie. That started to catch momentum.
Oh,
and I'm
Mary, I used to be terrible. And because I'm like 5'5", I used to take them from really strange angles to make myself look bigger. Now that I look back, I can laugh at myself. I'm in hysterics. It's like a different Kev. I talk about loving myself, and there was not much to love. I've got a face for radio. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
The whole selfie thing, I totally get you with the selfie thing, and I was there at one point.
There came selfie sticks.
Yep.
There came selfie sticks, and then there came 360 panoramic views.
Yep.
And instead of it, it's funny. If you look at the symbology of it, instead of the view being I'm sitting on top of Grandfather Mountain and I'm looking at the panoramic view of the mountain, I mean, how many people have we read about on the internet that literally fell off the mountain down to their destruction or great injury because they had to get that selfie? And that odd place. So I believe mystically, the bigger shamanic symbology of that was, do you understand that you're taking photographs of yourself? So there's a black mirror in front of you called a cell phone or a notepad or a laptop. These are our black mirrors of Oracle scrying right now. You're looking into portable techno mirrors, the dark mirrors, the black mirrors. And then when you turn them on, the light comes on and you take a selfie. So the symbology of that mystically might be, it's okay if you're taking a selfie. How do you react to your selfie? Are you doing a blame shame game? Does it make you go into, I don't like it? Did it uplift your spirit because it was new technology and it was fun? Initially on social media, it was fun to connect with other people. I remember how excited I was in '93 that I was talking to an astrologer in Australia online while I'm sitting in a mountain chalet in North Carolina. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
How nice is this? So there is still, and I don't want the dark forces to pollute it. It's wonderful that we can have electromagnetic frequencies and be able to find, reach out to our tribe and be able to have those like-minded, chakra-aligned people that come in to our life, and so that's what this Leo full moon with the sun in Aquarius is about, reaching out with heart and mind. And how many times have we heard through books that we read or movies that we watch or friends that we listen to that are in turmoil in a relationship, but they say, well, my heart says one thing, but my mind says another. And it's like, oh, okay, so go to soul. So go there. Go to soul. And I will give you a hint. Your soul self, your soul star, likes hanging out with the heart chakra. It likes the heart. It hangs out there. It doesn't get all diluted up in the mind. So it's okay that your shows, just like a business, if it opens up and it's blah, blah, blah real estate, it's not narcissistic to put your name on your website or your business or your podcast or your show. It's not, because there has to be the captain. There has to be the leader role. There has to be the Indian chief, if you will. There needs to be someone that can steer and take on the responsibility, because I know you know that, take on the responsibility of the platform, of the venue that you're beginning to be responsible for. So the energy of Kev and the energy of the Kev Baker Show, that you're responsible for as far as output, as far as who you're having on and the feedback that you get and how your audience is uplifted and enhanced, even if we agree to disagree. So what's coming back this year with the Aquarius-Taurus dynamic is when people say, I don't like you unless you're a racist, unless you agree with it or see it as I do. You know what? Bye-bye now. I don't need it. I don't need your vitriol. I'm not casting aspersions upon you, and I don't abuse people, and I don't take abuse. So bye. We've got to be able to set boundaries, because we all know how good it feels when we have that Army comrade buddy, that person that could be, cover our back, that sports person, that the family members we don't relate to and the ones that we do. I'm telling you, everybody I've ever read for, there's always in somebody's family, there's always in somebody's job, that envy, that competition, there's good competition where they want to see you thrive and they're happy to be a part of the team, and then there's the sinister behind the back stuff thinking, I'm going to really listen to them and then I'm going to do that show better than them. Yeah, okay, bye.
Yeah,
Bye-bye now.
there's corners of the alt media like that. I must admit, here at TFR, we're very much, we're not all on the same song sheet. Far from it.
Right.
In fact, you'll find shows that are 360 degrees opposed, you know? But that's
Sure.
what free speech is all about. And listen, before we go to the break, you mentioned lighting the darkness during your little opening monologue there. Something else you light is the void with our good friend Joe Roop. So I'd love for you to give that network and Joe and everyone over there a shout out, because you can hear Mary on Lighting the Void every month as well, folks. So Mary, let people know how they can tune into that.
How classy of you. I know that Joe will appreciate that. The show that on Joe Roop's network called The Fringe FM, the show that with Kev, I'm on at the full moon, and with Lighting the Void, which is the name of the show, lightingthevoid.com. So we're putting light into the void. Joe named it that. And I've been with them for 2.5 years, and I appear on each new moon. And so like the next one will be February 11th, when we're celebrating the big impact of the sun and the moon in Aquarius. So as I was telling you here in the first part with Kev, right now the Leo moon is exactly 6 signs away, and it's the polarity or the balance to Aquarius. Leo is opposite Aquarius. Aquarius is opposite Leo. So where I go all into the Aquarius and the forecast of the Aquarian themes in our chart, tonight we're going to be talking about, or morning, wherever you are in the world, or afternoon, as Kev says, we're going to be talking about the dynamic in our chart, the axis, the dynamic of where we are the lion and where we need to be more of a leader in the Aquarius part of us, where we need to be into the rights of free speech and the rights of being a free spirit.
I like this lion energy in 2021. I like a bit of that. Better been the lion than the lamb, folks. And after 2020, I think in 2021, we need to come roaring back. We'll be back in 3 short minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Kev Baker Show right here on TFRlive.com, Truth Frequency Radio, where we give you one, protection from deception, and we get the noise of a phone kicking in as well. You know what that means out there. And also where we say silence is consent. And I tell you what, it is so brilliant that we have the show right here on Truth Frequency, because that way, no matter what guest I bring on here, no matter what phone call we take as the show progresses, anything goes. Within reason, folks, within reason. But we've seen in the start of 2021 censorship like even I have never imagined. It's absolutely awful. So again, a big thank you to Chris and Cherie Geo.
Yes.
And you can thank them as well out there, and it doesn't cost you a penny. Now, if you want, you can support the network by getting a subscription, and that opens up the archive to, I have no even idea how many thousands of shows. But you can help for nothing. All you need to do is share the link out on your social media and help grow the network that way. And listen, I don't know how we all ended up here, but we're in the right place at the right time, and today we're here to listen to Mary DeCena. Now, Mary's got her own website. It's marydecena.com. I'm not quite ready to go full scary Mary just yet, but I tell you what, this is a one show that, like I say, you've been here twice before. Very rarely has somebody come onto the scene and made such an instant impact, not just with me, but with the audience. So again, I have to thank you. And you were the one that reached out to me. And usually 9 times out of 10 when somebody approaches me, oh, the discernment, oh, bad gut feeling.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Only not with you, Mary. And as you know, I did get back to you through Facebook, through one of my groups. And it's something I rarely look at. But Anne says, you know, something about this. And I said, yeah, we'll pursue it. And here we are now. And I've got the phone lines open for all of you out there. If you want to call in and speak to Mary, all you have to do is dial 213-233-3998. And then one more time, that's 213-233-3998. Now you can come on, you can call up and just let Mary give you what she feels, a reading that way, or you can phone up with a specific question about, I don't know, your life, your future, love, career, whatever you want. I'm pretty sure Mary has got this covered. I'm going to put you on the spot now, Mary.
Okay.
When I called you today, obviously the health things and that, but do you get any kind of messages, readings coming your way when I'm talking to you?
I feel like that the feeling that I have when you first mentioned it, the feeling that I have is that something that goes back like maybe 7 months, maybe 7, 8 months. I feel like that, when we go through little episodes in our life, be they psychologically or emotionally, they have seeds. And I feel like that you've uprooted that part of this, what can sometimes, when we're in the light, we inhale that light in. When we exhale, we're releasing any kind of deleterious or discordant energies. We're sending it out back into the atmosphere to be commingled. It's the air that we wear, the atmospheric thing. So this year is a strong year of the air sign. So it has everything to do with what we're inhaling, what we're allowing ourselves to be a part of or to inhale or take in. And I feel like that just like if you've ever done any kind of flower or vegetable or herb gardening, I feel like that the root is coming out. And I feel like the weed root or the seed of where something that was just hard to have to be a part of in your life, hard to have to take in. And for some reason I'm going to, and this can get personal, so you do not have to talk about it on the air, but later on I want you to think about the orbits of things that were going around you in your life between 7 and 8 years old, somewhere around 7 to 8 years old. Maybe you're so young then that it was disruptions from the external, like family things, relocations. Those are big deals to kids, things that go on at school and all of that. Sometimes when an animal dies suddenly, these are big deals to a kid that adults tend to kind of have a logical sense of getting over it. And for some reason, Spirit's telling me it goes back to that from 7 into that whole year of being 8 years old, that the root bulb of whatever was a hard burden to bear, a difficult thing to kind of navigate through, or that you took it very, very, you really took it in. Like it was very, very sensitive, and it was very, very psychologically empowering. So it could be that there was something that was difficult and something that you overcame. And sometimes things hit us as shocking in our life, and we're mainly focused on overcoming it and not just surviving it, but thriving because of it. And I feel like that this timepiece now, because time is an illusion, that we're time travelers. And so Kev can travel back in his mind and in his meditations and prayers or ceremonies back to not only all of 7 and all of 8 years old, as well as whoop, come right back here, and then 7 to 8 months ago, which would take us back into 2020, and look at where are the dots, how are we dotting the I's and crossing the T's, what seemed to be some kind of reappearance of an emotional desire or a psychological challenge. Where was I maybe too hard on myself or locking myself down, or maybe not a fear of failure, but a fear of success. Like I feel like something's really wanting to expand in your world, and when we breathe in, our lungs expand. So I sense expansion coming to you, and the old hindrances and the old even could go into other lifetimes, Kev. I mean, I work differently than other people's beliefs on that. I believe our soul is forever evolving, or in some cases for people, they choose to devolve. It is what it is. But I feel like there's an expansion.
I agree with you. So, yeah, but I agree with you. I think our soul is a very old thing. Much older than our current spacesuit that it kind of resides
exactly.
in.
Exactly, it's our Merkaba, it's our Vimana, it's our soul star, and so it's birthless, deathless, timeless. And we may go through several skins, and who knows? I certainly don't have all the answers, and walk in some kind of a spacesuit, soul suit, all kinds of different dimensions.
That's what I love about you as well. You're very like me, very honest. Nobody's got all the answers, folks.
Oh no, and I'm excited to learn. That's the difference. I think that's when we get in trouble, when we're unwilling to unlearn some things that are better off for us to unlearn and let go of and evolve and empower ourselves beyond that. It doesn't mean you were wrong that you once adhered to or believed in something. It's just, how about it served its purpose and its highest good for us, and now we just need to take another step beyond.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to take a step into the unknown now, because we have got our first caller of the day. And before we go there, to anyone else who wants to call in, the number you need is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. So then, without any further ado, let's go to area code 906. Welcome to the show.
This is exciting. First-time caller here.
Oh,
seriously?
Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much.
I'm seriously on the board, and you can call me Dee.
Well, Dee, it's
Okay.
very nice to speak to you, so I'm going to let you speak to Mary now, okay?
Happy full
Okay.
moon, Dee, and may it empower
Thank
your
you.
courage. May you be encouraged, and may whatever Spirit wants to say to you be only the highest harmonious medicine for you.
Thank you.
Do you have a question, or do you want me just to tell you what I see?
Just tell me what you see.
I feel, now they're using this word, not me. I feel that there's been something that seems to be where you felt caged, or you felt a crushing pressure, or you felt that it's been hard to see. Life always offers choice. I'm not saying those choices are easy, but it feels like you've either felt backed into a corner or haven't been able to see the options that would motivate making a change, or that you feel like that or there's maybe some frustration. The crushing part of it might be the frustration that you can see the event on the horizon, but part of the soul pruning and empowerment and soul lessons might be that you're in some kind of a waiting period. That can be frustrating, that you feel like there's a delay, that, but it feels like you've made the core decision. My life is not going to continue just like this, with this kind of pressure and that kind of disdain and any kind of self-abuse. It's like I feel this warrioress. I feel this medicine woman. I feel this overcomer is like been stirred in you, like the recipe has been stirred. And so right now you're going through that shifting, that tidal change, as stark as the difference between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Some places it's winter, some places it's the heat of summer. And I feel like that you're right in the middle of that. It's like I'm not letting myself get frozen, and I'm not letting myself get burned anymore. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yes.
And
Right on.
the card that I get for you is an ace, and in the tarot, an ace, there's only 4. And the aces not only open up a season or predominantly have a lot to do with a particular season's cultural messages and such, again, depending on where you live, but you got the Ace of Pentacles. Now, the Ace of Pentacles, as I've studied tarot since I was 14, again, so excited to always be learning. So the pentacles in biblical times in the Middle East are what we would call a dollar or a $100 bill or gold coin or silver coin. They were called talents. And so the pentacles tie into diamonds and regular playing cards. A diamond's certainly worth a lot too when you get into fancy gemstones. So the aces are spiritual intervention coming in to answer the clarion call. So the call and the tears and the frustration and the help me. Sometimes it's just great spirit, great mystery, God, Holy Ghost, help me. Goddess, whatever it is, however you work with 1,000 and more names of the Creator, when we do that surrender and say, I bow to the light. I am imbued by great mystery and great spirit. I open myself up in my entirety to the direction of the divine. Guide me, imbue me, come into me. Things shift in your life when you do that, because we're not just human. We're not just a cerebral telling this brain, we're not just organs, we're not just bones, we're mystical alchemists. It's what we are, and we are born and we walk and we breathe with the divinity of the supernatural. Our choice is from the Creator if we move with the light or the darkness through our intention and our motivations and what we allow and what we disallow. So there comes that forging of the willpower. When we know something's wrong, when we know someone's wrong, when we know something's of the darkness, you make a choice. It's not my job. You make a choice. But I feel like that this Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles opens up no matter where you live. The Ace of Pentacles opens up the season of the winter on the medicine wheel north in most cultures in Turtle Island in this country. And it has a lot to do with our spirit keepers, our ancestors, our archangels, great spirit, talking directly to your ancestors and your elders, whether you ever met them or not. When we sit in the north on the medicine wheel, in a lot of cultures, white buffalo calf woman, it has a lot to do with surrendering to do deep listening, prayer ceremonies, fire ceremonies, meditations, Reiki, clearing yourself of any and all uninvited influences, casting it out. Be gone. You have no power here. To take your will, D, and cast out any and all subconscious, conscious, uninvited spirit, past life. I cast you out, and I allow and invite in this moment, in this now, which is the gift of the present. You call into your presence the light. And as you do that, mountains move, things shift, and you don't get overwhelmed because you have now, ask and ye shall, you have now invited in the greater almighty I am, great spirit, holy elders, to come in and to walk with you in this dimension. And all of a sudden you realize my sacred guardian angel, my archangels, things are shifting. And what that does is it stokes the fire of enthusiasm and gratitude. These are magic keys that unlock you. No matter what crap has happened to any of us, who kicked us to the curb, who betrayed us, who stole from us, who lied to us, when we can get back the momentum of what we're grateful for, find it every day. Every day, find something that you're grateful for, even if it's like, I can walk. I can breathe easier today. I did a kindness today. Find a way that you can give and receive gratitude, because this Ace of Pentacles, aces are beginnings, they're spirit seeds. Now, the season on the great turning of the wheel, whenever it's winter somewhere in the world, the season of winter lasts until spring equinox, which for me as a mystic, my new year is always spring equinox. That's, for me, it's the sign of Aries in the Western Zodiac, and that's when my new year begins. So the season of winter is still here because we haven't had spring equinox yet. So you have new roots that are coming from the tree, and in the trunk of the tree is a spiral, and this energy, these enlightenment bolts of spirit are going to start coming at you fast and furious. So you're going to have to shed a few skins, as they say. You're going to have to be, in a sense, like the snake in nature when it goes through its seasons. It has to molt the skin. Birds lose their feathers and grow new feathers. It's a little uncomfortable for them when they go through that. They're like picking at their feathers all the time. Same thing with the snake. There's a time period when a snake is beginning to shed its skin, that dry skin even obscures its eyes. And so it has to rely on its forked tongue and the magnetic resonance of earth like turtles do. So this is where your animal totems can begin to be teachers to you. So you can look up what are the spirit totem meanings of the snake. So you're molting your feathers, you're shedding the skin, and you're going to shed this skin wherever you live when it's spring equinox in your vortex and where your power vortex is that you're currently residing. But make no mistake about it. This is an answer to a prayer. This is the way out of difficulty, and this is a moment where Great Mystery is saying to you, no, you don't have to reside in that abusive, difficult, no hope, no, I don't know no, that's over. That's the skin that's being shed. And any way that you participated in it psychologically, by what you allowed, by how you let the fears overtake you and chain you, that's getting unlocked.
That's wonderful.
Take it in.
Yeah, take it in. I mean, take it in, and you got some work to do. I mean, this involves, as Kev knows, this involves homework and soul work about I will abide, I will choose.
It's just what I need right now.
Well, Dee, thank you so much for calling in. I know what it's like talking to Mary.
You.
No, I know what it's like talking to Mary. She sometimes leaves me a little speechless as well. But, you know, on behalf of me, Mary, and the network, thank you so much for calling in. I know what it's like calling into a show for the first time. So give yourself a big pat on the back. And
Absolutely.
And I'm going to remind you just how awesome you are for being our first caller today, okay?
Well, thank you, both Kevin and Mary. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
You're very
have
welcome.
A great day, Mary. You see, I love our audience. I do, but I can't pause for too long because now we're going to area code 516. Welcome to the show. It's so nice to have you here with us. So, what's your name if you want to give us it, and then I'll pass you over to Mary. Are you there? Oh, I think you're going to have to call back. It's like all breaking up. I can see.
Yeah, I can feel them trying to talk through.
Yeah, definitely trying. Okay, if you try and call back, hopefully that will solve the problem there. Hopefully.
Okay, audience, Kev and I, let's clear any type of interference, because I have found in my over 3 decades of doing this that sometimes the discordant little dark forces try to almost like delay your ability to get through to a really higher vibratory frequency of like what your audience and you and I together are doing. We're like clearing. Remember, I just cleared out negative energy. Okay?
Yeah,
Not I myself, not ego self.
I've been doing this long enough as well to totally concur with what you're saying there. It's weird at times, but area code 516. Let's try it one more time. Are you there? No, still nothing. Nothing. If you try and call back, hopefully that will clear the problem. Well, Mary, while we're waiting then, I don't even know if you can do this, but you pulled a tarot card there for Dee.
Yes.
Would you be able to pull one of them for me, or hang on, hold that thought. We're going to go to area code 801. Welcome to the show. You're on with Kev and Mary.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the show. It's great to hear you.
Thank you. This is Della from Utah.
Hey, nice to talk to you.
Hello, bless you. Thank you for being so persistent and loyal to get through. Do you have a question or a specific energy frequency you want me to see what Spirit has to say, the guides have to say, or do you just want a card?
Well, what I'd like to say is help me now, please, and thank you.
Oh, how wonderful. I can feel thank you for the sincerity of your soul and your voice. I absolutely heard that quiver. And, you know, it's like a lightning bolt. You know, when we get really excited sometimes, it's like a tingling, like a little electrical tingling, like, oh, I feel so sparky and perky, and I love that dress, and I love my hair, and, you know, that kind of stuff. But with you, what just went through you, I feel like, was a lightning bolt of almost like, I'm so there. I'm so loyal to what the light wants me to do, and I've been so like caught up in something, and I'm working so hard, and I'm so sincere as a person that wants to not only be empathic and care about the other people that have touched my life and the creatures that come into my life and the work that I do. You have a real deep, resonating sincerity when you put your love into someone, when you put yourself into your work, when you are a protector to an animal or a child or plants, or you've got a real, like you're like, that's where you step up is like real 100%. It's like 100%. If I'm gonna do it at all, it's gonna be 100% or I'm out. It's like you're kind of driven that way. Do you feel that with yourself?
Perfect. Spot on. Exactly.
Okay. My sense is I see a swan. And, you know, there's a lot of different kind of things in mythology about the swan. One of my early teachers of the East that I worked with, and I still revere is one of my master teachers, is Paramahansa Yogananda. And Paramahansa Yogananda is the spirit swan. That's part of what the name means. And Yogananda, Master Yogananda, way early, like 40s and 50s, brought meditation and the Christ principle together over to this country. And he brought it in and opened up a thing called Spiritual Frontiers Fellowship. So Yogananda, a Capricorn, happy birthday, Master Yogananda, was about you. Sometimes the swan seems to feel like it's born an ugly duckling, and then it morphs into swan. And swan, as a spirit animal totem, because he was the master of grace, is known as grace. So when you're working with the frequency of grace, it's kind of like the old fairy tale or the old tale of Cinderella. You know, Cinderella was somewhat rejected and abandoned, and she goes and lives with a stepmother, and she has these stepsisters, and Cinderella can't help it that fate bestowed her with beauty and a natural charm, so she's the chimney sweep, and she does all the work, and the others are narcissistic, and they're very vain, and we know how the story ends up. And Cinderella's a very strong Piscean tale because there's a glass slipper. Cinderella has nothing to hide. She's a fairy godmother that pops up and turns like a coach with a pumpkin, and the mice turn into the guys that lead the coach, and she goes to the ball, and midnight's the bewitching hour, and all of a sudden she runs away because she wanted to keep her word to her fairy godmother and goes back, and yet through all the muck and mire, and even when she's the beautiful princess at the ball and the prince goes to her by kismet, by fate, all the other women, not just her stepsisters and the stepmom, well, what's wrong? Why her? Why her? Why not me? Why not me? Me. Selfie time again. But he finds her anyway. He searches all over the kingdom because of the supernatural, mystical, meant-to-be-ism of their electrical magnetic connection, and the shoe fits. And it fits no other person but her foot. Mm-hmm. And you know the saying, if the shoe fits, it's yours. So you're in some kind of like Cinderella. You're in some kind of like, you know, I know that grace exists. No matter what has happened to me in my life, I still believe in fate. I still believe in faith. I still can summon the combustion of light within me. But at some point I have to say, I'm not going to let myself be a psychic sponge and get drained by other people feeding off my energy so much and never even joining me as a friend, as a mate, or family member or whatever, that they never want to evolve and bring themselves up. If people around you don't want to, if they don't see you, my little country Tennessee mama used to say this, if they don't see you when you're there, they'll miss you when you're gone. So I feel like you've been struggling with, do I stay, do I go, what's my plus, what's my minus, what's my collateral damage, and am I choosing to damage myself by just keeping on? Do you understand that?
Yes, I'm going to have to schedule a reading because you're spot on. You have no idea. You are spot on with the analogies and the things you're bringing up is going on in my life. Things are happening that fit right into what you're saying.
Let me give you a little recipe card for tonight, because I know Kev is such an empath too. Online, yes, you used to have to go out and buy the books and all that, and I certainly support Yogananda's work. But one of my master teachers came through for you. So I want you to go online, and I want you to look for one of his classic pamphlets. It's called Healing Meditations by Yogananda. Just go look that up. It might be a PDF, it might be whatever, just do it. And you'll know you found it when you read the part where it says, the little cells are drinking. And that means you're taking in the light. Because I feel like in your emotional body, like the actual water element, that you need to be drinking in some light.
Yes.
Hold that thought,
so go look that up.
thought. Yeah, thank you for calling, and we'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have got the absolutely amazing Mary Dusina on the show with us here today. Visit Mary's website at marydusina.com. That's Mary, DUSINA.com. You can find out more about Mary there. The caller that we had is actually over in our Discord server. And, well, to say that you hit the nail on the head is, to put it really, really mildly, Mary. You know, it's one thing when you give me a quick reading, and I can tell that, wow, that really resonates. I know what you're talking about. But it's hearing these other people phoning in, and then hearing the wow, the amazement that they're hit with, because they know that you're hitting really home hard for whatever it is in their personal life as well. And that's just more confirmation for me that nobody knows everything, and Mary doesn't claim to have all the answers, but you definitely have something about you when it comes to all of this, Mary, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. We're tuning into the sacred woo.
Sacred woo. Now we're talking. That's what I'm all about. So listen, I want people to phone in. We're going to try area code 516 one more time.
Oh, good.
They're still on the line here. Area code 516, see you there?
Yes, this is Jessica. Hi, good evening, good afternoon, Kev and Mary.
Jessica, it's so great to hear you. I'll let you speak to Mary now, okay?
Hello, 516.
Hi, Mary. How are you? This is Jessica.
I'm good. Thank you.
Glad to get in. There was a little interference before, but I said, I'll give it a little patience and a little couple of minutes. And so I'm so happy to you received my call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for your loyalty and your determination. You know, when we have that determination and that dedication, that if it's meant to be, I'm going to do my part.
Okay, so I've muted that up a little bit, Mary, just so it doesn't come back through. It's feeding back through. So, Jessica, have you got a specific question for Mary, or is it just the reading?
Just, Mary, if you can just do a card like you did last time or whatever you feel, that's fine with me. If that's okay.
Okay, I feel a lot of white.
There you go.
Around you. I think it's still the interference with the 516 thing. I feel a lot of white around you, and it feels like it's a coating. Like it's like how good it feels to put the white blanket or the white sheet, or how pretty it is and supernatural when we see the big white snowflakes fall. And I feel that you've been rather solitary in some of your musings and some of your creativity and some of what you're wanting to command or to summon in your life. I feel like that you're at a crossroads of which part of a path you'll put that big toe into the water with. And I feel like I'm really tuned into July of 2021. I feel like that between the second month of this year, February, which we're knocking at the door of, into July of this year, I feel like that there's a very big life directional shift and change. And I keep seeing an elk. It's like an elk, or it's not a moose. It's an elk. And I see the beautiful antlers are also like white. And anytime I start to see an animal spirit that's white, or like winter white, or like ivory looking, it's kind of like the white of a moon. It's not like an Arctic white like snow can be, but this is more like what I call a warm white or a winter white. And this elk is male. The antlers are fully, very prolific. And I feel that even though some things have fallen away, even so some things have maybe run their due course, and it's like when a child leaves a home for college, or you move from one city to another. It's those kind of things. I feel like there's some things that have completed their purpose, be it people, friendships, family members, whatever. Sometimes it's divorces, sometimes it's deaths, sometimes it's marriages. But I feel like that you're on a new sojourn. You're on a new vision quest. And this elk is solitary, and it's looking right at me like I'm to tell you that this yang, or this masculine energy that's empowered tonight by both Aquarius and Leo, which are yang, masculine electrical frequencies. I feel like that although you're rather solitary right now, you're going to meet up with a mirror reflection of you and other people. Like what's coming in by July is that you're finding your niche, you're finding the congruency, you get your groove back, kind of a thing. So whatever you've gone through, whatever you had to go through a jungle of a health issue with someone, or that you had to kind of back off from something else. I feel like the woods, the forest floor, the woodland creatures, when you see a deer, when you see the deer with antlers, if you get a chance to read about elk, or get an animal oracle deck or look up elk on the internet, that's the wonderful thing the internet can give us. I just feel like that everything to do with that, so it's a hoofed animal, it's four-legged, you're two-legged, so it has to do with a multi-dimensional assistance coming in around you, and as Carl Jung taught, we both have the anima and the animus within us. We have the frequencies of electrical and magnetic, yin-yang, male-female, as energetic signatures, and I feel like that either you've been more into your electrical self or had to be the provider. You've had to be like the past societal definition of how the male in nature is the protector and whatever. Like the male birds build the nest, and the female bird has the egg and sits on the nest, and then sometimes the male bird gives her a break. So that whole dynamic of the job and the energy of the male warrior and protector, and then the female when she's able to risk her vulnerability. For some reason, I feel like the glitch has been that it's not been easy for you to unlock your vulnerability. Do you understand?
Oh, now I'll need to unmute the call. There you go, Jessica. You're back on with us now. There you go.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I really resonate with all of that. And yes, I had to go through some warrior-like stuff, and I really do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Jessica, thank you so much for calling in. You know, this is what I really love about when Mary comes onto the show. Hearing the reaction of people like Jessica, like Dee, it's awesome. So Jessica, thank you so much for calling, and please call again when Mary comes back, okay?
Thank
you.
you, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, bless.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
So bless you. I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
That number was really having problems there, Mary, wasn't it? That was a lot of interference. I'm just glad that we got through to Jessica, though.
It felt like we were supposed to, but that's the kind of interference she's had in her life.
Yeah.
It's been like poking at her, like poking the tiger kind of a thing. Kev, I've got to say one thing that's very unique about this full moon astrologically before, please indulge me for this. It's very important for people to know this. January 28th of this year of our Lord of 2021 is known as the luckiest day of this year because it's the day, and it's happening later on this evening, like the full moon happens first and then this happens. It's called, the Arabic word is Kazimi, C-A, C as in cat, A, Z as in zebra, I-M-I, and Kazimi is, the definition of that is when a planet goes across the face of the sun and kisses the sun. Well, in Western astrology, there's all kinds of different kinds of astrology out there, and they all can serve you well. Just go with what you resonate with. Jupiter, Zeus, and the sun, the great star of our Milky Way, where we're currently having a timeline experience, those are known as the two most favorable. Then comes Venus, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, well, Jupiter on this day and this night, as we go into our mornings and our dream times, if you'll take a little time to set intentions, write your affirmations, give a grateful prayer, sink into the feeling of gratitude, which will lift you up as you allow yourself to glide into it. Jupiter is kissing, Kazimi, Jupiter is kissing the face of the sun, which means that Jupiter is at the exact degree of Aquarius that the sun is tonight on this royal, regal full moon of the heart, Leo, and it's at 9 degrees. So those of you that have, wherever Aquarius is in your chart is the luck, the gold piece right now. Those of you that are savvy to your chart, whichever house it's in, whichever zone it's in. But for all of us, Jupiter expands and blesses and allows us to be able to perceive the next valuable lesson or step to take. So Jupiter and the sun kiss tonight. They're kissing in the Milky Way galaxy and the orbits of how the planets like to be behind the sun, ahead of the sun, all the orbits of the planets are moving, and so this is the more fortuitous day of the year. It's the Lady Fortunata of the Leo and the Aquarius. So the moon is amplifying because guess what rules Leo? The sun. So the moon is in the sign of the sun, and even though there's what we call a T-square. Think about an intersection, which you can go 4 different ways, okay? We're at a stoplight or a T-square of Mars and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So that's the T-square. We've got a Taurus, I've always done it this way. I don't want to have to let go. Why should I have to give up half of my possessions if I get a divorce? I need to be right. They're the one that started this. Okay, that's the Taurus. Don't tell me I got to change because I didn't start it. I played fair. I didn't break this job, do this thing, break the loyalty. Okay, that's the Taurus going, why do I have to be a part of the change if I didn't do it? That's a T-square. And Leo's like, up-level it, upgrade yourself. Find the solution, get the resolution. I'm here shining light on already something that you've got a grudge that you're carrying, already the part of you that you're licking your wounds or picking the scab. I know it's graphic. But I'm here to tell you the healing salve is here celestially. It's here. So can you just move beyond the original wound? Can you move beyond the scary clown? Can you move beyond, by God, they shouldn't have said that to me and they're not right and and they're going to apologize to me. Get it right. Don't get stuck in the argument. Don't just, you can say enough is enough, but then move to the resolution, move to the solution, because Jupiter right now, as we end January and we come into February with Imbolc, right now there's a very fortunate full moon. Full moons tend to bring us to emotional overdrive. They don't tend to be easy times of the month. The sun and moon are divorcing. The sun and moon are opposite each other. This one, even though there's some kind of wonky, cranky energy coming from Taurus, only in the resisting change type of a thing, pushing back on why should I have to change? You do it. So it's like there's a return to harmony if you don't get stuck in everybody thinks they're in the right and nobody wants to give in. So when you come into this weekend, diplomatic Venus, there's our third favorable energy. Venus, there she is, Aphrodite, is coming in to join up with Saturn, the old guy, our elders, our ancestors. So Venus, the goddess of beauty, the Roman goddess of beauty and love, is coming to sit with her elder, the wise man, the medicine man, the shaman. It's not just an old guy. It's somebody that's got the wisdom medicine bag, and say, what is my sign of universal love? How might I take the higher road? And how might I, first and foremost, it has to start with me, how might I heal myself?
Wow.
Almighty I am.
Now, Mary, you mentioned something there that it's going to seem weird to the audience, and I'm going to come to a caller in just a moment. But you mentioned the old guy, the medicine man, the bag of medicine. Now, listen, the minute you said that, I got an image in my head. And it's an image that we've seen in stone over in Australia. It's one that we've seen over in Egypt. It's been in Göbekli Tepe. It's everywhere. And it looks like a little handbag that they carry.
Yes.
Is that the same bag that you're talking about? Is that like...
A medicine bag is many things, but what image came to you is your healing wise man talking to you and helping this audience, period. What you saw is like a living tarot card. What you saw is an oracle message descriptive that came from Great Spirit, Great Mystery, and to come out your mouth with your words, your pitch, your timbre, your tone to be yet another in this Kazemi of Jupiter and the sun. This night, those words, that vision that came to you is to help the many.
Okay, right, we're going to go to area code 732 because I'm a bit freaked out right now. But Scary Mary is in the house. I'm telling you, it's fully engaged. I love you to bits, I really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Area code 732. Welcome to the show. I'm going to pass you over to Mary, but thank you so much for calling in today. What's your name before I give you over to Mary?
My name is Patricia, and I'm calling from lovely, windy New Jersey.
Oh, Patricia, it's so great to speak to you. Mary, there you go, all yours.
Thank you, Patricia. What a nice, clear, verbal energy you have. You're a very clear person. You get your thoughts in order, and you get a plan, and you're just like, okay, now I'm going to follow it. Do you have a question, or do you want me just to pick an oracle and speak to you about what Great Spirit wants you to know?
Well, I have a question.
Then go with it. Yep, go with it.
My question is, I have this house, and it's been drawing me back, and I'm living back in it, and strange things always happen. And I'm really worried about staying here. And the strange things I could talk to you about hours. And I'm kind of stuck in a place where I'm kind of too old to move to the woods and chop wood like I used to. Mm-hmm. And it give me any clarity on how to get more centered and get off the highway. I live across the street from the beach, but I can't go outside most of the time because it's brutally cold, like right now.
Mm-hmm. The image that I get, the image that I get is that you always, always trust the resonating, repeating feeling that I want you to go back in time, even though there's been lots of strange, anomalous things that have happened, some scary woo and some good stuff. But it's like the house has a definite presence to it, and when it likes you, and when it doesn't like what's going on, it lets you know. So it's got like its own personality based on its history and based on other residents and the core of the sand and the soil before things were built there. Two things Spirit told me. It will sell very quickly. So once you make a decision, you just kind of need to decide what state you want to go to. It doesn't matter your age. Where do I want to go in the next chapter of my life? The card that I get is the Three of Cups. I keep hearing march, march. So march can mean a couple of things. It can be a military command, march left, march right, march forward. Okay? And March is an actual month of the year that's tied to the planet Mars. So the turning of the wheel begins with the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars in March, and it's the third month of the year, and I've got the Three of Cups here with you, which is always in any tarot deck, the Three of Cups, which is the Three of Hearts, emotions, feelings, intuition, being able to let go of fears and move into, listen, I once was really happy. I know how to create happiness recipes in my life. What is wrong with me? Why do I keep just looking at the shadowy, scary stuff? So it's like summon back up what would make you raise your chalice up to the heavens like the gals do in the maypole dance at Beltane, which is 6 months away from Samhain. So raise your cup up and say, Spirit, direct me. I now will do affirmations on, I give thanks for the perfect person or persons at the perfect price now coming to this house, and I now give thanks and invite my spiritual high holy ancestors to reveal to me in my dreams and my meditations where to go to, how it's going to happen, if and when someone's going to be a co-partner to that with me, be it a female friend, roommate, or a love interest, or anyone that you're compatible with. But I feel like that it's time for you to be in something that's less intensive and more illuminating and invigorating.
That was so enlightening. You hit it spot on. I'm an Aries, and I used to remember celebrating Beltane. Yes, but I've been kind of trapped for too long now.
Unlock yourself. It starts with you. And starts with you. In your meditations, you're an Aries. You're a warrior. In your meditations, you do meditations where you see doors being unlocked. You envision, go get a little charm of a key. Go get an old key that doesn't even fit any doors or anything. Put it in your wallet. Carry it with you. Put it in your car. I am the key. I am unlocked. Spirit unlocks me. Celebration unlocks me. Hallowed be thy name. I am a key of enlightenment, and I am now unlocked. I accept it on this January 28th, royal full moon of Leo, compatible with Aries, and Jupiter is Kazemi, and I call it the A-team. All these Aquarian planets, oh my God, all these Aquarian planets, the A-team is Aquarius and Aries. It favors Aries.
And we love it when a plan comes together, Mary.
Yep.
Just like the
And
A-team.
guess
There
what,
you
Mary?
go.
I'm an Aries. This is very interesting.
Start celebrating. Start celebrating.
You are so spot on. I've listened to you on the Void, and I'm so thankful to my higher powers and for the house for finally letting the call go through.
Thank you. Thank you. Accept it. Accept it. You're the key. Accept it. You invite the spiritual key, and you become one with the key.
Mary, keep guiding people. You two of you are the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for calling in, Patricia. Again, what can I say? I cannot speak highly enough of the audience, and we only get such a small window into some of the people listening, Mary. But this is every show you come on, it seems to raise the bar, and I'm still trying to get over my personal transformation from an hour before the show to the way I feel now. But I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to roll with it because that's the way we play on here, and I'm loving the positivity. And I'm wanting more people to phone in. You need to dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Now, while we're waiting then, Mary, you pulled me a tarot card. So
I did.
let's hear all about that. Tell me, what did you pull me, man?
The one that you got, the number on it is 4, which is very compatible with this full moon because Leo is pronounced as it's like the it's the 8th sign of the zodiac. It ties in with the 8th tarot card called Strength, and this Aquarius, which is the balance to Leo, is the 17th card called the Star. So we have the 1 and 7 that equals an 8. Leo is the 8th sign when we're speaking with this moon tonight, and the Jupiter Cazimi moved from the 8th to the 9th degree by tonight. It was an 8 this morning, and you have the 4, which 4 plus 4 is 8. So the Emperor is often established with the beginning of a zodiac. It's associated with father figures, you as a father figure, your grandfather. So it ties into the masculine side of the family. So it could even be your relationship with your mother's father, whichever father figure fit in, because father figures end up being a kind of an emperor in the family dynamic. And here you have the animal totems, which in this deck, which often does not show up until we get to the Chariot, but there is a white horse and there is a beautiful black horse, and they're both serenely, the wind's blowing, and they're serenely behind the limbs of a tree that does have the green bloom on it. He's very shamanic looking. His throne is made of an eagle carved out of wood looking to the left and an eagle carved out of wood looking to the right. He has the feathers across his shoulders with the feathers, and he has a red fox right at his lungs. So it tells me that when it comes to beginnings, to taking in or entrances and exits in our life, even if we're just getting in a car and going somewhere and we go out our front door and come back in, that's an entrance, exit, or big changes that we make in our life. Red fox is your totem. This year, the other one is the mountain lion. He has his hand outstretched to a mountain lion, and this golden Leo full moon mountain lion has got its ears back, coming up to kiss his hand. It's submission. He has his shield. He has almost like his, it looks more a tribal, aboriginal, maybe Maori type of a talisman emblem beside his shield, but he's got the red fox and feathers, almost like raven or crow feathers, up sitting on top of his shoulders, but the red fox and the spirals, the glyphs of the spirals, which are resonant with change that you can manifest and create by the spoken word, is right there at the center of the lungs and the heart, right in the middle of the chest.
So no and coincidence, I was doing a show last night about spiral glyphs in the Chaco
really?
Canyon. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned Aboriginal there. And I kind of smiled because something weird going on energetically, Mary. I'll fill you in really quickly. We do shows with Luna, I mentioned to you earlier, and her brother Donnie. They come from different mobs down in Australia, but I had to share with Luna, and we had another girl on, Jess. She's an archaeologist. But when I hook up with Donnie, and it's a feeling like I've never had before with anyone, but it's like a familiarity, where like it's like I know it's beyond knowing somebody to the point where it kind of freaks me out a little bit, and
in a good way.
In a good way, no, definitely in a good way. So when you mentioned the Aboriginal there, that was another reason why I kind of started giggling to myself and smiling. Yeah.
Well, the spirals are right up on the, like if you come down from the shoulder blades, and again, I'll send you the image, but as his chair comes down as he's sitting, there's a swirl that happens of rainbow-colored eggs. Now, again, we think about new birds, new bird eggs, and new life coming out in March. The Emperor is the higher, what we call the major triumph, the major trump of the triumphs in the major arcana, and it has a lot to do with the fourth month of the year, April. We're still in Aries as the fourth month of the year begins. Until we get to that third week of April, we're still celebrating the sign of Aries that opens up the wheel, the turning of the wheel. At the top of this card is an illuminated Arctic white star like the horse, and it's radiating. It's got a sliver of a golden crescent moon and a sliver of a white, the glowing moon, and behind it are like the red aurora borealis. And what this is saying is the dragon at the bottom of your feet is now saying, I can rest because now you have the power.
Oh, one segment to go. We'll be going to Colorado when we come right back. Don't go anywhere. Well, it's with heavy heart that I have to tell you that we're on our final segment today. Heavy heart because I can't get enough of Mary Dusina. Please check out our website over at marydusina.com. That's Mary, DUSINA.com. You can also hear her every new moon over on Lighting the Void on Fringe FM with Joe Roop. And I want to give a big shout out to Joe and all of the team over there at Fringe FM, another network that's trying their hardest to get the information out to you people out there. Because that's what we're all about. We're all about the information because we're here to learn. Nobody's got all of the answers. I barely have any of them. But I tell you what a ride it is. And I tell you, sharing this journey with people along the way. Mary tonight, very, very blessed indeed. Very humbling. And I'm just so grateful to be a little part of this experience that we've got going on here. That is the Kev Baker Show. And of course, all of you listening out there, you make up the biggest part of the Kev Baker Show and Truth Frequency Radio, because we literally do. I've got the disco here, I've got the chat room over at TFR, and that really energizes me. I know a lot of the hosts as well, it helps them. But without all of you folk out there, you know, it would be absolutely pointless. So remember just how awesome you all are. We're going to be going to a caller next, Mary. We've got one segment left to go here. They've been hanging on the line very patiently there. I didn't want to go to them towards the end of the last segment and cram in the call. So we're going to go to area code 720, and that's Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. And I'm going to pass you over to Mary.
Okay,
Good evening, Colorado.
So hi, Mary.
Hello.
Yeah,
Colorado is a Leo state. It's a Leo state, so on a Leo full moon, for you to be calling from a Leo vortex is pretty powerful.
Well, and I'll tell you, I called you before, and we spoke about the mirror ball who is going to open up my life. Do you remember that last month?
I don't remember it, but go ahead. Only because I try not to, because I want to be fresh in the moment. But as you go, Spirit may click into it again.
Copy that. So, firstly, I want to thank Kev Baker, TFR, for giving the platform so people can learn some things and hear some things that they wouldn't ordinarily hear. I was born under a full moon, and according to them, because I don't really remember it, it was like the apex of a full moon a long time ago. From my late 20s, about my 27th year until my 43rd year, every March there was a disaster of some kind. I got divorced in March. My family members who left this place early left in March. I changed work in March. I had to move in March. March was something that I would dread for years and years and years. And it finally shifted, and my question is, why did it shift, and what can I learn from that? Because from that point forward, I'm proud to say, or I'm thankful to say, my life's been very smooth, but there's something I need to learn from that. So if you have anything you can speak on that, I would be super grateful.
Thank you. Wow, what a great detailed observation on your part. And first off, thank you for your class. Generosity and class, to me, are always very savvy. Thank you for acknowledging, Kev, and the platforms that allow us to come together and learn and help each other thrive and raise our frequency. It's so important at this juncture in the world right now. So that's the Aquarian part of it that we have to acknowledge, we have to support, and we have to be grateful for, because that is what's going to get us through any of the icky, sticky, darky, shadowy types of things. The March thing feels to me like it was tied to a past walkabout, as we say, a past incarnation, to where there was some type of unjust death experience that either you were a part of creating for someone else, and or it like stayed with you, and that either you were a part of someone leaving the planet then in that other walkabout lifetime, and it happened in what would be an equivalent to March, and there was what we sometimes talk about, a bit of a shadow stain of the soul, and it had to be worked out, and it like involved, and like you said, part of your family members left early, you got divorced in March, job changes happened in March. It was like it took so much from the both of you, maybe on a battlefield, and that experience that I see is that person was actually leaving the planet. It does feel like it was a male, when they were actually expiring and becoming uncoiled from the mortal body. When they got uncoiled from the mortal body, as that was actually happening, you both had an instantaneous realization of like, oh my God, we weren't really on opposing sides. We're both souls. Like, I can't believe we both got caught up in this, that side A was fighting side B. And like you, the soul as it left was like, it's all a part of the big destiny dance, man. It's just a part of what it is. I don't hold a grudge against you. It's finished. It's done. It's finished. But it was like, with you still left in the mortal body, it was like, my God, how did I affect that person's family? I mean, it's just going to keep rolling out. Their family, their job is done, their family, and they're gone, and and whoever loved them, it's like it really got into you. And I feel like, believe it or not, that very soul has been a part of breaking, and I'm going to use the term only because it's familiar, breaking that generational March curse. They came in and actually came back into this incarnation and said, enough is enough, in a good way.
Well,
that's what I get. It all of a sudden started rolling out, but it did look like it was some kind of hand-to-hand combat scene. Like, it didn't feel modern to me. It felt like it was like when men fought with just swords or batons, or, I mean, it was like, do you resonate to a certain time back in history that a certain battle fascinates you? You might ask that in meditation or in your prayer ceremonies or whatever you do about, when it's not tanks and lasers and and it's not even bullets. It was hand to hand.
Well, yeah, and I will tell you, unfortunately, I have had far too many meditations with the brutality of physical bodies I've carried in this realm. And everything I've tried to do in this time is to avoid that at all costs. I didn't do very good when I was young because I was very quick to battle. And I've learned to be a lot slower to battle. So we'll see. But no, I totally appreciate it.
You marched away from it. You marched forward from that. No, there's nothing, like, it doesn't take away from you being a seasoned, incarnational, effective warrior. Now what you're doing is you're shifting it. You're taking all that empowerment of, like, a guy that really knows martial arts or kickboxing or has gone out into battle for an army or a navy or air force or whatever. So you've taken that and said, it's now like that book, The Art of War by Lao Tzu. It's like I'm now able to shift and become the sacred warrior, which is protector, defender, and the calm whenever there's a storm. More about, not being on offense, but knowing all about defense, and choosing very cognitively what I will defend and how I protect. So it's like more like you became the predator that doesn't have to attack every prey that it sees, or every prey. There's many prey that the lion can look at and go, yeah, not today, I ate. So it's like when you're born a predator creature, You know, again, they don't go out for, hey, let's go have lasagna and pizza. No, they eat because they have to survive. And a lion might go 3 days before the lioness hunts again or whatever. You know, they eat to survive. The wolves, the coyotes, they eat to survive. The snakes or whatever. That's not the birds every day. I remember thinking as a kid, oh, God, Dad, every day the birds have to go find foods and worms to eat. He goes, every day they have to survive or they're hungry. And they can only go so long. So it's like you only went so long being one style of a warrior, albeit a very effective, very forceful, very like the art of war. And now you've shifted that to, okay, I've carried, I've bloodied, I've battled, I've defended, and I have backed the darkness the hell up. I know how to do it. Trust me, I may be female, born on Halloween night, but trust me, spirits will shudder when I send that energy that way.
Been there. Yeah, you've been there.
I know.
I'll tell you,
yes.
It's interesting.
Yes.
My current position, I'm the security director at a public venue.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about it is de-escalation and calm and not having to do that. I only had to do it once in 3 years, and unfortunately, I'm very effective at it. But it's something that I don't like that I have. And that may be, you know, part of why I'm here now to sort that out.
Yeah, I don't see that it's unfortunate. I see that it was necessary. I see that you brought all those life battles to bear to be able to get good pay at being good at what you do. What's happening creatively is that's a life skill that you'll have for the rest of your life. I came at it a different way, although I was a mean little fighter growing up in the mountains, you know, and if I never started it, but if somebody came at me, their face was dragged on the asphalt. I knew how to do it, and I got in trouble for fighting very well. You know, my dad would be like, my God, you're a girl. You've got to stop. And I'm like, I tell you what, Dad, they step over the line, their face meets the pavement. That's just, he goes, no. He literally moved me out of Tennessee because he said, that's it. I'm going to NASA. I'm going to Florida because I've got to get you away from the fighting. So I understood it, and then I came to understand it spiritually. And I didn't want to hang out my shingle doing exorcisms, but the 3 that I can count on one hand that I did, everybody around me was like, oh, holy crap, I'm scared to death. I got to get out of here. And I went head on in. Yeah, head on in. And the demon is like, oh, damn. You know, so it's like, so I knew that part of what I dealt with, and that even has to be at the right time, or the demon will go, I guess I'll come home with you. So you really got to know what you're doing when you're a warrior. So and they will. And I've shifted that, and there was no accident I was born on Halloween night either. I got it, you know. So I know the whole witchy thing, I know the whole demon thing, and I know how to read that crap in people that have their mask on with their face in this body. I know how to read it. And I know how to give them a certain look like, you know, I see that in you. I see the demon in you, so rock on.
I'll tell you, thank you so much for taking my call, Kev. Some Sunday night with Bill Bean, it would be amazing.
Yes.
If you could get these two together. So I'm gonna.
I like his energy.
Probably something else.
Yep, I think.
I like. It's not my thing. I really have respect for people that will take and cast spirits down. Been there, done it. Not going to be my circus, but I have great respect for those shamans, those preachers, those rabbis, those priests that go, okay.
Yeah, it's like really weird because you know, you think of Bill and then you think of the whole astrological type realm, and you would think it's almost like oil and water. The two can't mix. But you listen to Bill, you listen to Mary, and there's such a crossover. And I think, leave that one with me, caller. I will try and make that one happen.
In the pod.
Yep, definitely.
Thank you, Warrior. Thank you, Warrior, for you're shifting to be proactive instead of just reactive, and I compliment you for that.
Well, thank you for that. So I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in, and now we're going to go to our next caller. Really quickly before we get there, though, you kind of freaked me out during the break. I had a whole scary Mary moment because you said, now, Kev, remind me we need to talk about Mercury retrograde. And it freaked me out because earlier on I'd written down, kind of jokingly, because I kind of laugh about Mercury retrograde and then I got stung by it. But you bringing it up after me thinking about it, I should have known. I just need to think it and Mary will catch it. So before we go to our final caller of the day, Mercury retrograde, talk to us.
Okay. So all the Mercury retrogrades in 2021 will occur in the air element. the atmosphere that we choose to command around us, the air that we breathe. How are we expressing our thoughts, our words? We need to be very, very awake and aware of how we're casting our words out there, because the air element is Aquarius, which is our first Mercury retrograde, Gemini, Libra. So this is the realm of thought, the realm of affirmations, the realm of casting, the realm of alchemy. It's bringing the invisible into form. Our first Mercury retrograde, it went into shadow around the 15th, 16th of January. Goes retrograde on the 30th. So here we are on this 28th of January. So it's going to retrograde in 26 Aquarius on the 30th and stay there till the 20th. And so what's going to happen with this is it's going to come up against an Aquarius. It's going to come up against Mars and Taurus, and it's going to come up against Uranus and Taurus. And so there's some square-offs. So it's like if you can go back to the Western movies and, that standoff at the OK Corral type of a thing. So what's going to happen is there can be power plays. We can, if you know in your chart where the Taurus Aquarius signs are, well, you can move away from the power plays in your intimate personal relationships. Like you can go down a different path instead of being set in your ways, Taurus, or giving silent treatments of like, I don't like the way you did that, and get away from the my way or the highway type of a thing. Save that for the really drastic type of things, because there can be some shocking news or shocking Aquarius revelations that come through. Aquarius knows how to be cool and detached. Taurus doesn't want to be pushed into anything or told that they have to do something before they're ready to do it. So you can see that where Aquarius, different than Leo, where Aquarius can be, I'll talk to you about it later. I don't care. Let's let cooler heads prevail. So here's some dates. So with this retrograde, February 7th and 8th, the Sun and Mercury will join in Aquarius. There's some innovative solutions if you've had some stuff roar up, health-wise, relationship-wise, job-wise. If the glitch has happened since January 16th and you're kind of overthinking it this weekend, the plan to really work it out can happen. The progress can be made as you come into that end of the first week of February. And then on the 10th, Mercury retrograde means review, be retrospective, review it, resolve it, think out of the box. It's Aquarius. Don't go down the same path of when you get pissy or when things don't go your way, or are you too stubborn? That's the Taurus, the bull that doesn't want to be moved out of the pasture. So when we get to February 10th, approaching that new moon in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius is going to square Mars. There's the bull going, I don't want to leave the pasture. I don't want to get in that van, and I don't want to go anywhere. I don't care if I'm going to be a stud bull. I don't want to leave my pasture. I like it here. It's familiar. I know what to expect. So the war can happen over the 10th and the 11th of like, it's always been this way. Why did you have to do that to change it? So we're at a war with spirit, in a sense, that uses little agents called other humans in our life that we work with, that we make love to, that we deal with, the neighbors, the family, the kid, all of that says, hi, because I'm the trigger, because on the great chessboard of life, Spirit has decided that you need to let that go. Taurus and Cancer don't let things go easy. Capricorn comes in number 3. You need to let that go. We need to shift your consciousness, and I promise you it's going to get better because you've gotten too stagnant. You've gotten too set in your ways. You believe that too hard, and things are on an upgrade now with Aquarius, and it's the truth.
Oh, see, there's a reason I thought of Mercury retrograde.
Yep.
And Mercury was my cat badge when I was in the military. The communications. So I usually find around Mercury retrograde time, it's usually where a lot of conflict can come, especially online, because so much gets lost in translation when you're communicating via text. So be wary of that, folks. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether you're saying it, thank you for that very valuable point. Whether you're texting it, whether you're typing it, how your words are arrows right now.
Yep.
So
now, Mary, I'm going to have to cut you off because we've got one caller hanging on the line here, and I really want to make sure we get time for this.
Absolutely.
So we're going to area code 801. Welcome to the show, and I'm going to pass you over to Mary.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Felicia.
Hey, Felicia, it's great to hear you. So,
do you sing? Do you sing, Felicia? Do you sing, or do you admire singers, or there's something about music and song all around you? Is it you, or is it someone around you?
I do enjoy singing. Yes. I never actually took lessons or anything, though I did sing back when I used to go to church. I used to sing in the choir.
There's something about the magic of you and how the angels and your guides interact with you. And if you could do like your affirmations, or when you exercise, or when you cook, sing over your food, like find those hymnals, or find those songs that you know. We just talked about words, singing. Adding that pitch and that tone, they're like you put life into words when you sing them. You know, that's why a lot of people are moved by certain music. Like when I was thinking about this Leo moon, I thought about Enigma's older song, A Return to Innocence, and the other, I forget who it's by, but it's on YouTube. If you just type in Counting Stars, that fits this whole Aquarius Leo type of thing. So even singing along with the lyrics of some of the songs that move you, it's not just the melody, it's the words. And I feel with you that the card I got for you is the Ten of Wands. And speaking of you singing in church, there's a cross that's on this card, and there's a circle of stars, and there's a brown bear, which on the medicine wheel is the direction of west, and there's a man. And these wands are all lit up like they're like almost like light rays out there, like, you know, like lights that make those lines up in the sky, floodlights and things like that when you go to concerts or you're going into a big venue. And this bear speaks about something being corrected or something being manifested to do with what I call an SO, the SOs of our life, a significant other. West on the traditional medicine wheel has to do with who we'd like to hold hands with and walk into a sunset. So it's a significant other. It's got to do with a blessing way in a partnership. If you're currently not involved with someone, it has to do with a very kindred spirit coming into your life. And bear is about after a time of hibernation, new life. And bears are really gentle creatures unless you mess with them when they've got their cubs. So there's something that's wanting to be, like the big month of this year feels like it might be October, because I just keep feeling like there's a lot of things that you're trusting. There's a lot of things that you've once been very restless about or confused about, but I feel like a position of strength with you. And my guides say her child, her wild, innocent, creative, unfettered child gets awakened, and all her creativity opens up if she'll just start singing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Do you have a question?
Yeah,
Do you understand? You understand the relationship part of it?
I believe so. It is a little unclear, 100%, but it's, yeah.
It's a work in progress, Spirits tells me. It's a work in progress. So when you're singing, imagine the qualities, imagine the corrections or the qualities. Singing is like faith for you. It's fuel. It's a fuel. So fuel through your singing what you desire in your significant other. Like if you already have someone in your life, you don't have to say, then sing that you have faith about the improvements for them and their confidence and their success. And if you're currently not involved with someone, then sing that into being. Sing it.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, thank you so much. That is actually really, really helpful. Wow. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And go look up bear as your spirit totem messenger, because the bear and the message of the bear fits you all the way into October of this year. Go study the west direction of the Native American sacred hoop, as they call it, the medicine wheel, and go look up what it means to have an animal spirit totem of the bear.
Okay. No, I definitely will. Thank you so much.
You have homework.
Thank
have homework.
you.
Keep singing.
Yeah, you got your homework
I
to
sure
do.
do.
I'll be checking up. Thank you for calling in, Felicia, okay?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, our friend Luna down in Australia, she's listening to what you're saying here, and they call that singing people up. She says you got to be careful.
Nice.
You got to be careful though, because it can get you in trouble. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Wow.
Oh, she's right. No, Luna's right about that. Singing, it adds oomph, I guess. It adds a strength.
It's a
or
vibration,
like a live
isn't it?
energy.
Yeah, it's like a stronger vibration than just saying
Luna's
something,
right. It adds life, and like it's like a full tank of gas. You better know where you're going. What's your speed limit?
Mary, we've got 3 minutes that I'm going to dedicate to you. Give your final thoughts to the audience and let them know again where they can hear you with Joe.
February 11th is the next new moon show that I'll be doing on Lighting the Void, and I can tell you that on Pacific time, it's 9 p.m. It starts on my time zone. I do the show, you ready for this, Kev? From midnight to 2 a.m. in the morning, live.
Nice. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm 10 p.m. till midnight, so I like
cool.
I like the late night radio. I know it's not late night over in America, but over here, I think I don't know, the darkness adds something. Especially when you shine bright like you, Mary. There you go.
Well, I love the nocturnal, too. I'm definitely the night owl.
Same here. Same.
Daytime, it's ravens and crows. Nighttime, it's the night owl. And then the lion walks beside me all the time. Love my lion totem. So I'd like to say that, yes, it's a congruency that Kev and Joe and I all share as tribe. And so February 11th on Lighting the Void on the Fringe FM network, and I'm also sending wonderful, expansive blessings to the Geos, the couple Geo and Truth Frequency Live network. I love protection from deception. That's such a great thing. So I just want to remind you that this full moon is royal. When you think about the vision of Ezekiel, when you think about the thrones and the dominions and the principalities and powers, there was a lion on Ezekiel's chariot, there was an eagle, there was an angel man, and there was the oxen bull. So this full moon with Jupiter, Cazimi, and Mercury turning retrograde, Mercury retrograde is best spent clearing up the road that we've been traveling on. So we want to clear our path, we want to clean that up. Mercury retrograde is wonderful for study, deep listening, unlocking patterns, breaking up with negativity. It's wonderful for that, all the way through to the third week of February. And we start the Lunar New Year. We start the metal ox. So here we have another bull ox symbol coming in as we get to the Lunar New Year.
And Mary will be back with us here on the next full moon. Remember to visit marydusina.com. Wherever you are, make it TFR and didn't touch that dial. We're out of here.